TLC Network here with another unboxing, this time coming from the company Hollyland. And this is the Hollyland Lark M2S wireless microphone kit. One of the latest microphone kits from the company, and quite possibly one of their coolest. Mind you, this is still kind of entry level for lavaliers in the world and for a lot of these mobile kits. But for what this brings to the table, I'd say it's one of the coolest because it's really answering one of the biggest questions or desires, we'll say, in the industry. What makes these special is the fact that there's no logo. That's the biggest desire, the question that everybody has in this industry, because all these wireless microphones that we attach during, for interviews or any other use that you want to make use of these for, everybody knows that a lot of these manufacturers, including Hollyland, a lot of the labs that attach to the shirt have logos and or screens or other bulky things that stand out, and you don't necessarily want that. They're distracting, and or maybe you just don't want branding in the video because that would cause a conflict between you and whatever gig you're on to do that recording with. So there might be a conflict of interest when it comes to product placement or anything like that. So if Hollyland isn't a sponsor for that content, they may not want that logo in there. Hollyland has created the answer for that by making a clip-on mic that puts all of that stuff behind the microphone. So it clips to a shirt, just like you see here. This is a normal lavalier microphone. It clips to the shirt like you would any other lavalier microphone. Now you can do that with these, with the base of the majority of everything behind the shirt and just the elements sticking out like you would a normal lav. No logos. It's nice and small. They call it like a teardrop or pearl design, I believe. And it's just perfect. I mean, when you consider the fact that it answers that big desire that everybody's asking for. No more logos. We don't want logos. Now, some of them do, including the Lark 150 and a few others. They do have a lavalier option, just like you would with Shure, Sennheiser, or anything else. But keeping things wireless, you're able to get that same design. So that's a big win for Hollyland. So you have a perfect hidden lavalier solution. And what's also nice about Hollyland is they make sure to cover everybody. And this is becoming a little bit more common in the industry because, if you want to successfully sell your product, you want to be able to encompass or just include everybody out there for what you might be using these for. So in this case, these come with multiple different product options or kit options. You have the ultimate combo, the mini combo, and the USB-C options. So 4 options to choose from, and really the difference is the USB-C option is for smartphones and devices that use USB-C. That's able to take a microphone via USB-C. And that's like your most simplistic form, as well as a 3.5 millimeter option, which is for 3.5 millimeter to cameras, DSLRs, laptops, or anything else that takes your typical small headphone like 3.5 millimeter connection. And then finally you have Lightning, and that comes in 2 different flavors, and that's where you get your ultimate combo, the mini combo, and the USB-C. So the USB-C kit is just USB-C. It gives you a cost-effective entryway of just providing a solution for USB-C devices. Then you have your mini combo and your combo, and the only difference between that is they both offer 3.5 millimeter or USB-C, so that way you can use it across multiple devices, but it also, or at least the combo version, also comes with a USB-C to Lightning adapter, which is just a little cable, which is the difference between combo and mini combo. The mini combo doesn't come with that adapter. Or if you want to take things up a notch, you get the ultimate combo, which is all-encompassing, no adapters. You have a receiver for 3.5 millimeter, you have a receiver for Lightning, and you have a receiver for USB-C. So it's a lot going on there right there. And the price point is also really cool because it starts off at about $119 MSRP, works its way up. So you have $119, $139, $149, and $159. $159 being the ultimate combo. So the price point is definitely reasonable from start to finish there. Depending on what you need this for. In this case, this is the combo. So it's not the ultimate combo, but just the combo version. So this one has the 3.5 millimeter, the USB-C, and a Lightning adapter cable. So not a Lightning receiver, just an adapters to use the USB-C with. But that way, this will still work with all devices, let it be smartphones of any flavor, including past and old Apple products, as well as laptops, DSLRs, and so forth. In our case, we're using the typical camera we use in our studio here that's adapted down to, or adapted up to XLR using 3.5 millimeter into our camera and recording deck solutions that we have on site here. And like many of Hollyland's products, it offers all the typical features that you'd find with a mobile lav kit like this, such as noise cancellation. And then you have the fact that they're super light. These transmitters are only 7 grams. So they're nice, they're light, and you clip them in somebody's shirt, it's not gonna really weigh down the shirt or anything, so if they have looser material, like just a real thin t-shirt, or a blouse, of course with blouses, you're gonna wanna put some kind of a backing on there. Like, one of our favorite tricks is just take a business card, fold it in half, and use it in the back to stiffen up the shirt. But you could do that on this as well. But with 7 grams, it's not really weighing down the shirt. You don't have, like a wired lav here, you don't have that wire pulling down on it, so you're not having to worry about putting slack back there or anything like that for when the person's moving around. So it's just less failure points, we'll say. But 7 grams is a pretty good weight for a tiny little lav such as this. Then of course you have sound quality, which Hollyland is also known for. These are capable of producing up to 48 kilohertz, 24-bit sound. You have a 70 decibel signal to noise ratio and 115 decibel max SPL. You can capture a lot of volume and a lot of sound, a lot of good range, while minimizing any kind of distortion potentials using this microphone kit. And then you have battery life, which is also important, obviously, and also impressive given the fact that the transmitters are so tiny, so the batteries are so small. But despite all of that, you still get up to 9 hours of use on a single charge, and then of course up to 30 hours of use when you're taking them in and out of the charging case, because the storage case is also a charging case. So obviously you're probably not shooting for 9 hours nonstop. That's in most situations you wouldn't be. So let's say you're shooting interviews, and each interview is about 5 to 10 minutes long. In between, you put them in a charging case, it keeps them charged, and you can go on for up to 30 hours. And then you have distance, which is always good. Again, with most Hollyland products, in this case, it is capable up to 300 meters or 1,000 feet, in other words, and that's line of sight, perfect line of sight. And that means that if there's any obstacles in the way, such as walls, trees, and other things between you and the transmitter, or between the transmitter and the receiver, those will kind of dumb that down a little bit, and you're not going to get as much of a distance. But if you have a perfect line of sight, let's say you're outside and there's nothing between you and the subject, you can have up to 1,000 feet worth of range when it comes to distance, and that's pretty good for such a tiny little solution such as this. And then it continues, the USB-C of the receiver. When you're using this with a phone, you have to consider the fact that when you have that plugged into the phone, you're taking away that phone's charging port. So if you do have a long shoot time, and let's say you're shooting commercials or just long interviews, that's going to really drain the battery of your phone. So if you don't have a way to charge the phone because you're taking that one USB port that's on the phone and slapping a microphone on it, well, the USB-C port that's on the receiver will act as a pass-through. So you can connect that to your wall adapter so that while you're using this with your phone, you're still able to charge the phone at the same time and you're not having to worry about it dying. And finally, you have the Lark Sound app. That is for any Android or Apple device. And that allows you to really dig down into the settings, as well as seeing a live view meter or VU meter on the screen. So it just gives you a little bit more than what the receiver is going to give you, because all you're getting on this is just a few status LEDs, and using the app, you're able to see so much more. So again, price point is anything between $119 to $159 depending on the kit, if you're just doing the USB-C, or working your way up to a full ultimate combo that has all 3 receivers. No matter who you are or what you're using this for, Hollyland has you covered. So what we're going to do for now is we're going to open this up. We're going to see what it comes with, what it looks like, and then we're going to hook it up to our rig here and show you what it sounds like. So first, when you open the box, you have a little kind of a walkthrough here. It says make sure the microphone pickup hole is facing outward when wearing. If you swap the direction and put that on the inside of the shirt, it's not going to work out so well. Then you have some instructions here. You have just a little after sales card that talks about how you can reach out to them. You have a compliance information just for certifications fold out here, and a packaging list card to show you what it comes with, to make sure you have everything you're supposed to have. That's in the box. And then you have your quick guide, which doesn't take much to get through. It's just front and back, and pretty much covers everything you need to know in terms of how to use it, as well as the power pass-through and everything else. Using these microphones is pretty straightforward. The only thing you're going to use the instructions for are just understanding that if you've never used something like this before, and or what the various different options are for enabling and disabling noise cancellation. And then you have the microphone and charging case. It's simple. Hollyland across the top. Nice rubberized bottom, so that way it stays put. It's just sliding around. It also protects surfaces from scratches, when you're sitting it down to surfaces like this. We have your USB-C port on the back, which is for charging the case, and the units inside. When you open it up, you see both of your receivers here and both transmitters. Now, this is where it's interesting. These transmitters, again, they're tiny little guys, and you get up to 9 hours of use in a single charge with these. They're magnetic a little bit. Actually, are they? No, they're not magnetic. It's just pressure using the loop here. So there's a little bit of pressure there, and this is what creates your connection to the shirt. And it just slides onto the shirt just like that. As you can see, it's less noticeable than this giant lav that I have on my shirt. Of course, it's going to come with windscreens. When you're using a windscreen, it's going to be a little bit more noticeable. Those are going to be for when you're outdoors in windy environments, or if you're standing in front of a fan for some reason, or anything like that. But if you don't need that, you take that off, and it's just very covert. And that'd probably be one of the biggest keywords for this product. It's just covert. So this is nice. And it's easy to work with. You have a one-touch button right here to turn it on and off. Of course, it should come on and off as you take it out of the case as well, or put it back in. There's little protection pieces here, little pieces of plastic that protect the contacts during shipment. You want to remove those, or it's not going to take a charge in the case. And then as soon as you put it in, it turns off and starts to charge in the case. Same thing is going to apply for the receivers. You're going to have a little protective things for the contacts. Just remove all of those. But looking at these, this is the 3.5 millimeter receiver for DSLR cameras. Here you have a USB-C port, which is for charging this if you don't have the case on you. And that's it. This doesn't do pass-through, since obviously you can't take a charge via 3.5. But this does allow you to keep this charged potentially while you're in use. So if you have a camera rig that has USB-C power, you might be able to make use of that. Just make sure that you're not getting any ground noise or any other issues when this is plugged in and charging. Some of these mobile kits will have that issue. We've seen that with some brands like Comica and potentially Hollyland as well, but usually you don't want to have them taking a charge while you're using them, because there's always that potential that there might be some noise created in the recording. You have two buttons or options on here. You have a power button here and you have a volume wheel. Now each of these do a number of things, and so that we get this right, we're going to look at the instructions like you should. But the power button is also the pairing button, so if you need to replace one of these and need to repair it, you have that option. It is also your mute button, so pressing this will mute the microphones. And then you have it also acts as a lock, so you can lock everything else. So that's a single press to lock the receiver, a double press to mute all transmitters, a long press 3 for turning the device on or off, and then a longer press for up to 6 seconds to enter pairing mode, which you should never have to do unless you have to replace one of your transmitters. Now what's really cool is that the volume wheel here, this is to set the volume of your units. It does have a little red circle going around it, which makes you kind of think that's your mute button, because it does press in. It's not true. It's not your mute button. So that's the only thing that confuses me. I would have put this as the noise canceling button on the side, and this is as the mute button, but that's just me. But the volume control knob is also your mode and noise cancellation button. So a single press turns noise cancellation on or off. And you'll know what mode it's in based on the LED light color that's on the status LEDs. And then a long press for 3 seconds will switch modes, and then that's how you're going to find out if you're in mono or in stereo. And if you get confused in memorizing which is which in terms of your colors, it might be good to just use a label printer or something to print something and just put it on there. I know we do that all the time. But solid green will show that you're in mono mode. Solid blue will mean that you're in stereo mode. And then you have the USB-C receiver, which is even smaller. It has a single button. To make sure we don't get that wrong, we're also, once again, going to go back to the instructions here. You have your LED lights that are on here for your transmitters, showing that it's receiving transmitter 1 and transmitter 2. And you have only one button on the side here. This is an everything button. This is noise cancellation pairing. So you turn noise cancellation on and off by single pressing it. And then if you press and hold for up to 6 seconds, you enable pairing mode for pairing the transmitters to it. And the status LEDs pretty much tell you everything. So like what you saw the other ones were when they were flashing, if these are flashing blue, it shows that that transmitter is unpaired. So you might actually, I thought to myself, I told you shouldn't have to use the pairing mode, but what if you have to pair between the two? So what if you ever switch between using a 3.5 and the USB-C? You might have to pair between those two. So there is that possibility. If there's a solid blue, that means they're paired. If it's solid green, that means noise cancellation is enabled. It's tiny, it's small. Oh, and one last thing, USB-C port on the side, that does provide power pass-through to your phone. As for the transmitters, I mentioned there's one little button on the side. That is your power, noise cancellation, and pairing button. So you got to have them both in pairing mode for them to pair to each other. So that's the 6-second press. The 30-second press is to manually turn these on and off. Again, going in and out of the charging case should do that automatically. And then you have single press for turning noise cancellation on and off. If the indicator on here is flashing, it means it's unpaired. If it's solid blue, it means it's paired. And if it's solid green, that means noise cancellation is on. Solid red means it's muted. So it's kind of straightforward. I mean, blue is when it's flashing, it starts off, it's going to be in blue, so it's going to tell you blue means it's just connected. If it switches to green, that means, oh, you've enabled a mode, which is noise cancellation, and red means muted. And that's it. That was a lot of talking right there. There's a little bit to get through right there, but that's why you want to make use of the instructions. Once you've read all of that, it's kind of straightforward. So moving further into the box here, you have some accessories, and of that you have this cool drawstring bag for keeping everything organized into, so that way everything stays together. In the bag there's a line separator going across, so there's two sides to it, and one side, it's not really the greatest line separator honestly, because there's an opening at the bottom so things can just slide back and forth between sections, but that's assuming you even make use of this. But inside the bag is going to contain all of your accessory cables and whatnot. So you have a 3.5 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter. You also have your windscreens that pop onto the elements. So those are used for windy environments. Or if you have I hate to use the term, but it's true, a mouth breather that's focusing down into the microphone, you can use these for that as well. And then you have your USB-C to Lightning cable here and your USB-C to USB cable for charging. So this is for the 3.5 millimeter connection. This is for for charging the case and everything that's in it, or the individual units if you want, or for charging the receiver as it's connected to your phone if you want to plug this into a wall outlet. And then you have this. This is what makes the difference between the combo and the mini combo kits, is that USB-C to Lightning adapter. So you get everything you need to be able to make use of this. It's pretty straightforward. And what we're going to do now is we're going to hook this up to the camera and see what it sounds like so you can get an idea of what to expect. So let's go ahead and do that. So now I have it connected to me. You can see it on my shirt right here. We are using the Hollyland Lark M2S microphone, a nice covert concealed microphone here tucked into my shirt. No logos or anything else. It's nice and lightweight. And again, you don't see it. It's a perfect mobile wireless kit, and it sounds good on top of that. I mean, this is with no noise cancellation enabled, and we're in stereo mode, which means that it's going to both left and right channels. If we were to set it to mono mode, that means that the other one will be in one channel, and this will be in the other. And that's pretty much the same you'd find with any of these mobile kits. It's not really noisy here. The studio here is pretty much well isolated from the sounds of the outside world or other things going on within the building. So the only thing you're going to hear is, stuff that we create, and maybe some airflow, but even the ventilation when they built this place, it's zigzagged, and there's other tricks of the trade that are used to help prevent noise in general. But let's say, there's some kind of a noise in your background and you're trying to ignore that. It's kind of a goofy way of creating noise, but I'm going to hit the button on the side, which is just this orange button. One press now shows green. And now we're in noise cancellation mode. and you shouldn't be able to hear these noises so much anymore. It should be a little bit more quieter and isolated, and this is where using these outdoors or in noisier environments, such as in buildings where people are walking by and talking, there might be a dog barking across the street, a car alarm going off down the street, whatever it may be, this will help to isolate some of those environmental sounds so that way the viewer can focus on just you. And again, what we're looking for when we're in noise cancellation mode is for any kind of digital noise, any kind of alien little digital bits and pieces in there that you might hear, such as garbled sound or weird effects that you might hear, where it's trying to process that volume while eliminating all of that. If you're not hearing any of that, that means you have a good microphone. If you are, that means you probably don't want to use noise cancellation much, because it could really affect the quality of your records. But in the sense of Hollyland's approach to their research and development on noise cancellation, I'd say that they have done very well through the years, and because of this, you get a really good result, and you're able to make use of this mode without having to worry about any of that distraction or imperfections that you might find in the record. So this is nice to have. So their ANC is good, their active noise canceling, their audio quality is good, their friendliness in terms of flexibility in both what buttons you have access to, what they do, what the modes or what modes are accessible, and all the various different features that you'd expect to find compared to anything else on the market. I mean, Hollyland has nailed all of it. It is very user-friendly. The only thing you have to do is just memorize colors. And as long as you're not like us, where we make use of many, many different types of microphones. We have so many microphones in our own inventory when it comes to both mobile capture versus studio, and trying to remember what all the buttons and lights and everything else for some of these that actually have some of those, can be a little daunting. But for someone who simply just has one kit in their mobile kit, you just have to remember the difference between green, blue, and red, and are they flashing or are they solid? That's it. It's easy. And it's affordable. So it sounds good, it's affordable, it's easy to work with. Hollyland has pretty much ticked most of the boxes necessary to really provide a good product. So once again, the company has nailed it with the Hollyland Lark M2S wireless microphone kit. So we're going to have links in the description below, as well as some other information, and we'll make sure to include anything else down there that we find important. And of course, if you've liked what you've seen here, don't forget to subscribe and follow us, and tick the like button to let us know you liked this video, and make use of the comment section below in case you have any thoughts or comments or questions for us, for each other, or for the manufacturer in case they are watching. And as always, we thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time. If you want to stay on top of all the latest and greatest, and or at least the gadgets we cover, remember to subscribe right here. Subscription button. Click it. You're going to want to. There's lots of videos, interviews, previews, all sorts of stuff. Button. Click it.